Saturday, October 26th at Santa Anita, going 5 furlongs.
Yeah, working way out in the middle of the racetrack there as the cones or the dogs are out here. Kenny Black, the rider-up, former jockey back in the day. And this is a filly that, yeah, you know, Kenny's just intent on getting to the pole here. She looks a little aggressive, not that flashy. Comparing her to Clenor, I don't like this work as much.
Yeah, I didn't either. You know, you're going to watch Nesso switch leads about 4 or 5 times in front of you down the backside. Part of that is because she's aggressive, and part of that is because I don't think she's all that comfortable. There is an occasion here on the backside where she switches in front but doesn't switch behind for a couple of strides. We call that cross-firing. That occurs there. That's never a good sign of the horse. And as you watch Nesso come to the wire, you're going to see, look where her head is right now in the work, Donna. When she comes to the wire, her head is actually going to be closer to her body and high, a sign that she's not finishing well in the work. To me, this was not a good work.
I think I was probably a bit more forgiving than the two of you were, just because she's a 2-year-old filly working by herself in the middle of the turf course. She doesn't know that those orange cones are like an invisible fence and you have to stay on the outside of them. You can see her little ears swiveling around like satellite dishes. She's paying attention to her rider. She's paying attention to everything on the inside, the outside of her, swaps her leads back and forth. She should have had company. I gave her a B because she's a 2-year-old. If this was an older horse, it would be a dismal failure.
So when you're watching her right here, Donna, come down the lane, what really gets me is that she's now carrying her head higher and closer to her body than she was down the backside. To me, a horse that's really not enjoying what she's doing.
No, I see what you're saying. When you put that work, if you were to put this work next to Clenor's, who's running in the same race side by side, 2 different types of animals. You got a filly head who's kind of running with their head up, Clenor level. You want to see those. I like to see horses when they quicken just drop a little bit, drop their head and level out.
But Clenor was unusually mature for a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
This was typically what you see from a 2-year-old by themselves on the turf.